Okay, well, I've been instructed to make a recording of this session. So just would like to let everyone know that the session is being recorded. Okay, I guess we can start now. I believe there are around 42, 43 of you guys. So now we have almost 30. So it's fine. I think we can start. My name is Shafiq. I'm from Department of Pediatrics. Um, I'm in the hospital side, but I'm not a clinician. Basically, I'm a researcher. Um, can everyone see the slide? Yes. Okay, I can see someone nodding there. Okay, so before we start, I would like to get some input from you guys about your experience in citation software. So you can either scan this QR code, or you may go to the website menti.com and then put in the code, or you can also type in the link as shown on the screen. While you guys are doing that, so in case I have a loss of connection afterward, just stay calm. I'll try to connect as fast as I can, because at my side the internet isn't the strongest. Okay, I assume everyone can see the the survey as well. I'm gonna put like that so that the latecomers can see the QR code as well. All right, so far majority of you had some sort of experience with citation software. That's good to hear. Okay, for those who just joined in, can you please try to scan the QR code or go to the menti.com and then give your feedback, so that we can sort of know like your background of your experience with the citation software. Okay, so far 15 of you, majority of you had some sort of experience, and then you can see that EndNote is by far the most popular. 62% of you use EndNote. A quarter that are using Mendeley as well, and then that's good to see that there are some of you who use other than these two software as well. And I'm glad that no one said I don't plan to use any software at all, because it's just a huge task if you don't. So I'm glad to see that. All right, that's good. Okay, we can move on. So now we know that you guys are quite okay with citation software. But so for those of you who are already using EndNote, this will be just a quick revision for you guys. For those who are using Mendeley and interested to use EndNote, you may see whether this is a better option for you. But if you think you are very comfortable with Mendeley, it's up to you guys at all. There's no, I wouldn't say like EndNote is better than Mendeley or Mendeley better than EndNote. Is quite similar, I guess, the experience. Just that probably EndNote will have a better support because our library has EndNote, so you may get some support from them as well. And since you are a student here, you get it for free, so you can try to use EndNote. So this is my thesis experience. So previously, I did my um, honest year study in Australia. During that time, I didn't know how to use citation software at all. So I did my thesis without any help of software. It was about 150 citations, something like that. And I needed weeks to complete the citation, including this includes the in-text citation as well. So it's just a huge task to do it manually. And then I learned my lesson. So I did my PhD here in UM. So I was sitting like you guys now, like few years back, listening to another lecturer uh, teaching us about EndNote as well. So from there, I learned how to use EndNote. Before that, I know how to use EndNote, but not efficiently because I didn't have any formal um, uh, say session about EndNote. So it's just like from YouTube, something like that. So it's good that you have this research methods course that you can have some sort of at least a basic exposure for the EndNote. So for my PhD study, I had around more than 500 citations in my thesis. So because I use EndNote, so virtually I have zero time spent for the referencing. So yeah, so that's my experience. So for today, the learning objective is of course to know the basics of EndNote. Part of it is to know about how to create libraries, groups, how to add references from search engines such as Google Scholars, PubMed, and so on. We can try to look at how to search and sort the references as well, edit few references if ever needed, and then next objective will be cite while you write. So it's a suite, one of the suite for EndNote that it can be embedded into the Microsoft Word so that you can do your citation straight in the Microsoft Word as well itself. So the third objective will be to know the basics of Turnitin, since this session is also will touch a little bit, only a little bit about the Turnitin function, which has been I think has been open and always open from as a service from the library. All right, so we go one by one. So first, introduction. Why do we need to cite? So of course, by doing the proper citation, you can give a proper credit to the authors, which is the origin of the words or the ideas that you want to cite. And then you can also allow your readers to locate where is the original source of your quotation, of your citation. Last but not least is, of course, by doing proper citation, you will not put yourself into a situation where you will be accused of plagiarism. So you have to know to do citation properly. Of course, there are more than these three available that for you to use for citation and referencing, but these are probably the most popular software that are around. So first, of course, the EndNote is a paid software owned by Clarivate Thomson Reuters. For you guys, acquired licenses for staff and students, so it's going to be free. So for Mendeley, on the other hand, it's always free. It's managed by Elsevier, one of the main publisher. It's equally competent software, no issue at all. And then there's a new open source platform called Zotero, also free. It's looks like just the previous version of EndNote, so you could be feeling at home as well using this software if you use EndNote before. Of course, just to highlight that EndNote is an expensive paid software, so you can feel lucky for to have the license free for you. So I've given the link to everyone as well before this, but this is the link for you to get the software. Just follow the instruction. It's quite straightforward. So there will be two options for you. If you use Windows, there's EndNote 20. That's the latest version. EndNote X9 for Mac. For those of you who are using Mac, I would say the interface is quite similar. Although here and there will be slight differences, but in general, they are quite similar with each other. So in case any of you having using two system simultaneously doing your thesis, I would be happy to report that I've been using Mac and Windows both at the same time for my thesis. There's no issue at all. So you can you can say you can do like some cross-platform thesis citation management there. And then this is just to highlight the EndNote installation. I assume everyone has been able to get the EndNote from the library. I think no issue there. So if you have installed properly, the EndNote plugin can be seen in your Microsoft Word. For those of you who are using other type of word processor like Microsoft Word, so the alternative like Google Docs, what else? LaTeX, for example. So those I think is just not, unfortunately, is not compatible at the moment. So if you want to use the EndNote plugin, it must be from Microsoft Words. This is just the troubleshooting if you are unable to get it to work in your Microsoft Words. So this is the troubleshoot. Okay, next we go to the second bit, which is the basics. So how to create the library. So in your EndNote, basically the main file is the file with the extension of .enl. So this is your main library file. So you can see here, if you see the type EndNote library, so this is the main file that you want to keep basically. So if you ever need to, for example, use another computer, let's say you just purchase a new computer, you have to make sure you get this .enl file, and then there's also another folder .data. This one also need to be copied to your new computer so that your database of references can be transferred easily to your new computer. So this is what it looks like when it first launched. So it's just empty like this. So I'm just gonna pull out my EndNote. So this is my EndNote. So it's been populated with my references. So if you are just fresh, so you can see that you can rename your folder, your main EndNote file. Let's say just say research method. So it's loading a bit. So as you can see, it will open a new fresh database for you. So you can start to populate here. So I'm just gonna close this. So okay, we just play around with this one. So basically there's like just as your normal software, you can see the menus up here, and the left side is where you want to see your groups, your folders. Basically, they call it groups here, but it's basically a folder. You can treat it as a folder. And then this is the main window where you can see your references that you have added in. And then on the right panel, you can see the abstract. And then if you ever want to edit it, you can just see more details here. Okay, so that's quite straightforward. You can create your own library and name your library as you like. So how to add your references into EndNote? Basically, there are three main ways how you want to add your references. First is by doing it manually. For example, this typically happen when you want to cite something like a report that is not necessarily published in a journal of some sort. So, for example, you went to a conferences, you want to cite a poster, for example, or you want to cite a government report, for example, like National Cancer Registry. Those are not really um, out there that you can cite automatically in most of the cases. So that is when you want to edit, add in manually. So the next way to add references is by importing your sources. This is by far the most popular method to do so, because that's why we want the EndNote software, right? We want it to get our references and embedded into your thesis automatically as much as possible. So you can go to the, for example, a database repository, for example, PubMed, or you can go to directly to the article in the journal site, and then you can have the reference file to be downloaded. We can go on one by one later on. And then this is quite new, the EndNote click, but I think it's quite rudimentary right now. I wouldn't recommend you to use this because I have a few cases of missing references when I add using EndNote click, so I wouldn't recommend as of now, at least until they have updated it properly. This is very new, so I wouldn't recommend this at the moment. So yeah, so how is the step for you to add the references? So if you want to add manually, you go to references, new references, and then you can add on your references. There will be a window like this, and then you can populate manually. So this is the example. Okay, before that, I want to answer a question by Dr. Nazima. I've got EndNote X7. Is there much different, or is there advantage to change to the latest version? Virtually, it's about the same. So upon every updates, they will tweak a little bit in terms of the processing power of the software. So it could be a little bit faster. Imagine you have like 500 over citations. Whenever you add in, you will need to do some processing to add into your embed at the middle of the thesis, for example. Then it needs to do some processing power to push your subsequent references down, and then reorganize your reference list as well. So typically it's just a backdoor upgrades, and then probably the X9 looks a little bit cleaner. So just in terms of interface, but the function is not much different, I would say. Okay, so I'll bring in my EndNote again. So for example, if you want to add this report, so we try to do like this. Okay, so add in references, click new reference, and then you can change this since this is a report. So you try to find the report here, click report, and then you can type in this one, all this information, and then you can press save. This is important. If you just close without saving, then the reference entry will not be there in your database. So remember to press save. So I'm just gonna do it quickly. Let's say Malaysia National Cancer registry report. I wouldn't type in full, but you as long as you get the idea. So press save. And then only you can click it. All right. So for example, okay, it should be in your database already, so you can test it by typing the name of the report just now, Malaysia National. Let's see. Yeah, so it's there. So yeah, so that's how the step for you to add in manually. And then for this is the step for you to add the references from other sources. For example, Google Scholar, scientific database like PubMed, and individual journal. So what you want to look for on these websites, the .nbit file. Sometimes it can be they may have a different file names, but as long as you click under EndNote, it'll be fine. So you can just basically once you have downloaded your reference file, you can double click and it should be open automatically in EndNote. So it should be safe there. If not, if you double click and it wouldn't open, so you have to do some manual importing. But most of the time, I would say it's an automated process. So let's try to go to, okay, let's go to PubMed, for example. Let's try, let's say, cancer. What type of cancer? Let's say, okay, breast cancer. All right, so let's say you want this second one. All right, so what you want to find is this site button. Then you can press the download embed. So you can, of course, straight away change the formatting to APA. This will be reflected by here if you want to copy straight away and then paste it. But in your case, you don't need to change any of this. You just press download.embed, then it should be good to go. So it will be downloaded like this .embed file. Just press it and should be added into your EndNote as shown under the imported references tab. So this is the one that we have just imported in. So it same goes if you go to Google Scholar, for example. Then let's say you want this one. This goes straight to the individual journal, but it's fine as well. You can just again similarly press site and then you can just download. So it can be in the RIS format as well, as I mentioned. So yeah, it should be in. All right, there. So that's how you do it. It's quite straightforward. And then so this is the same like the Google Scholar that I said. Let's say, do we have any entry? Yeah, but it's just the same. So basically, you want to find the cite button, cite this article, and download the necessary file. And so it's either npip or RIS. It's fine. Okay, so that's how to do it. This is the next way for you to add in your references. This is my favorite ways to do it as of now. Before I go to these steps, just wanted to answer a question by Vanny. I have EndNote X7 version 2. Is there a way I can upgrade or I'll need to uninstall and reinstall the newest version? So if you are, your EndNote X7 is from UM, licensed by so you can straight away click upgrade. Yes, you can click upgrade. Um, I don't think there's any problem. You just click upgrade, but in because you are jumping one version, so I would recommend you to save your .en the database first before press upgrading, because we don't want any bad things happen, like missing database and so on. So make sure to backup first. Okay, so this is as I said, the second way to do it. So there's a online search mode that you can use in the EndNote itself. So it will automatically from the within the software, it can connect to the PubMed, for example, and then find your article of interest. So let's try this. So basically, I believe you have this lecture note as well, right? So you can always refer back later on if you ever need to. So you see the interface that I put here is slightly different. So in the lecture note, these are coming from Mac version. So X9, Mac version X9. So the one that I using right now is the Windows version. So it's almost similar. So you find the logo here. Just now here, the logo is here. So find the okay, or we can go to here as well. So go to online search. Let's say you go to PubMed, right? So you can again type your, for example, the title. You want something your literature about, for example, like just now we did breast cancer. Let's say Malaysia. So something like that. So it will try to search the PubMed, and then will pop up with a lot of entries. So you can home in by adding in more search entries, search queries. So for example, if you want this one, you just right click and add reference to. So this is like basically your folders that you can add in. So if you want to create a new one, you can create a new one. But for example, I just put in here chapter 1. So if you go to your chapter 1, then it will be here. Okay, so that's how to do it within the EndNote itself. But it's I believe it's easier for you to read the paper carefully first, then you will add into your references. But if you already have your, your target paper, then you can do this. All right. So the Mac version will have this pop up first, so it will give you some heads up first. You are having like X number of publication. Do you want to go? I mean, do you want to proceed? Like for example, if you search, turn out to be the result, you have a total of 20,000 publication. You wouldn't want that. Maybe your EndNote will crash. So you want to press cancel, and then tailor in your, just tweak in your search entry, so that it will be more specific for you, the one that you want, and then the result will be smaller and smaller. Okay. So you may want to try it yourself as well later on. And then next, how to add references. This is from the Google Scholar. So this is a screenshot. Similarly, you just have to find the EndNote download button here, press sign, and then the pop-up will come out like this. And you just press the EndNote, then you have the file. You just double click, and it should be open automatically in your EndNote. This is just the notes for what we did just now. We can go to the individual journal article in the journal website, and then you can find the button as well. Okay, so you can try to do this if you want to. For those who are not very familiar with EndNote, you can try. We give like about 2 to 3 minutes for you guys to try. So if you ever need to get any explanation or guidance, just shout.
Hi, hello.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
If I want to use EndNote, but I'm currently using Mendeley,
Mm-hmm.
is there a way for me to transfer my Mendeley reference onto EndNote? Because when I access the Mendeley files, I can only find individual files. I cannot find the one file that can transfer everything onto EndNote.
Right, right. So I have to be honest, I have no experience with Mendeley at all. But according to the participant of the previous research method course, you can go to the EndNote or Mendeley support page. They have an instruction on how to do that. So honestly, I never done it before, but according to the previous participant, it can be done. So you may try to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, anyone have any problem of trying to add in? We can move on. Think if you have any problem, you just have a shout. Okay, next, how to manage your reference list. So once you have probably hundreds and thousands of references in your database, there could be a case where during your first semester you have read about this paper, this one paper. You add it into your database, in your EndNote database, and then when you want to write your thesis again, you have another round of reading. You found the same exact paper, but you of course you didn't remember about the paper that you read like 3 years ago. So you add in again. So what happened is you have created a duplicates. So we have to manage duplicates correctly, because if, for example, you added in your first entry in your first semester, so EndNote we have some entry number. Whenever you add in to the EndNote, it will give you like, let's say, entry number 1. So let's say the article that you added in the first semester is entry number 1, and then after years of reading and doing your study, in your fifth semester you want to write this, you added the same article again. What happened is now the EndNote will assign that the same article as a new entry, and it will assign with another entry number. So for example, number 500. Since the first one you have added 499 more, so the entry number 500. So what happened is, if in you when you write your thesis, you before this in your first few draft, you are using the entry number 1 you added in, and then after a while you continue doing your thesis again. Accidentally you chose the entry 500. So what happened is, in your reference list you have 2 of the same article put into your reference list. So you don't want that, so we have to manage it carefully. You don't want to have any duplicates. So that's the reason here. Another thing that can assist you is by having groups. Group is like the folder that I showed on the left side just now. So it will probably help you in managing your reading. Let's say you want to categorize your articles based on the chapter, for example, then you can do that as well. Or based on the ideas, you can do that as well. So it's up to your liking. And of course, the EndNote has the capability of putting PDF in as well. And for those articles that are coming from open source, or not open source, what do you call it? Open access. Yes, open access. So EndNote can automatically embed the actual article in as well. So you can see one by one. Okay, so how to find the duplicates? So basically you can press the library and then find duplicates, as easy as that. So for Windows, it will appear a window like this. And then you can see that here, Moriyama, entry number 1222. There's another Moriyama, the same article, entry 1283. So you have to decide which one that you want to select for you to maintain in the library. If you press cancel, then automatically the newest entry will be highlighted for you so that you can right click and then delete those. So if you straight away press keep this record in the window, automatically then the other record will be deleted. So this is a new function, new updates in the in the EndNote 20. Before this is a bit more manual. So now they have make it slightly easier, let's say like that. So okay, there's a question by Sing In Tan. I realized when importing the citation from different database, sometimes the same article appears in 2 or 3 duplicates, and it somehow it can't be identified using find duplicates function, and I have to remove manually. Have you experienced that before? Yeah, in an instances where it comes from different sources, right? So the file could be different. So that's why this function is not, as you might guess, it's not a perfect system. So I put a note here. It's not always the best way to do it. So, but at least it's the first thing that you should do. Use the automated function first, and then you can try to look through manually if you ever have a duplicate. So the easiest way to do this is to, of course, you can, for example, sort based on author or based on title. If you see any entry suspiciously looking like the same, you can double check that and then can delete manually as well. So just to, as a disclaimer, this is not 100% robust way to do, but what important here is duplicate must be managed. So you have to manage your duplicates. If not, it will make uh, some kind of problem later on during your thesis wrap up. All right, so we can see again here. Okay, so let's try. We go to library, references, where is it? Library, and then find duplicates. Oh, okay. So it will find the duplicates here, right? So you have to go to everything. You go to all references, for example. Go to library, find duplicates. Then a window like this will appear. So what you want to do is you want to confirm that these are in fact duplicates. You can see it looks the same. It looks the same. So we can confidently say that these are in fact a duplicate. So you can decide which one that you want to keep. Typically for me, I will always keep the first entry because I may have used this entry before. So I don't want to complicate the writing. So yeah, so for example, I want to keep this record, then that's it. And they will go to the next duplicates, if ever. Yeah, so keep this record and so on. So yeah, you can do that. If you press cancel, then it will automatically highlight those of the second entry. So you can just right click and then just delete. You can either remove. move references to trash. Yeah, so like that. That's it. So all these can be found under your duplicate references. Then you can manage it from here. All right. And then this is to introduce the usage of group set and group. So group set is basically the parent group, and then the group is the, you call it, subfolder of the group set. So you can do as you feel comfortable. For example, you may want to put it as your thesis, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or it could be based on idea, as I mentioned just now, your thesis, and then let's say you doing something about inflammation, then next thing about senescence and so on. So you can group the references um, as you like, basically. So just to show it quickly, again, this is the group set. So if you want to make a new one, you can just either right click anywhere here and then create a group set. So that's your group set. Then you can create another group. Then it's a subset of that, of those. Okay, something like that. So for example, once you have, just now we have imported these references, right? This reference, for example, you can right click and add reference to, then you can add into your new folder or group that you have created. So now this particular entry will go through here in terms of the filing, right? Okay. So similarly, this is what I've been explaining. So there's also another function called smart groups. So what happened here, if let's say you have added your reference into your library, EndNote library, and then suddenly you want to find, or you want to automatically make another group based on certain criteria. So you can do such, for example, you have, suddenly you want to look at something with the your title, all those your in your library with the title blood, so you can group them together, and then it will automatically create, pull all those article with the title blood into a smart group. So for example, you can just right click, create smart group, and then again, for example, any type, any article that contain blood, for example, and the name you can say blood, for example, and just press create, and then you have this folder called blood that have all the articles with the word blood in the title. So you can do as granular as you want. Okay. All right. So we've been showing you the steps just now. So if you have any problem, you may just ask. Okay. Next is managing your references. Yeah, basically this is where the EndNote have an sort of an extra function where you can put in your PDF as well. As you can also give some rating for the articles or the entry that you have added. So, for example, you read about this entry, let's say paper A, and then you read about the paper A, and then decided this paper A is not really relevant to my work. You can put the rating showed by the star here as 1 star, for example. If you found another article that is, oh, this is very interesting, very relevant to your work, then you can rate it as 5 star, 4 star, 4 star, for example. So it's up to you or of how you want to denote it as such. For if you have the paperclip logo next to the entry, it just means that there are the actual article, usually in PDF format, embedded into the entry as well. So you can, it's a bit limited, but yes, you can open a PDF and then can do some reading within the EndNote itself. So there's also a function where you can press the circle on the left to note that you have read or you haven't read the article. So all these are extra sort of function for you to help in your thesis writing. So just pull out the EndNote again. You can see here, for example, for this particular entry, you can see that there's a PDF embedded here. So you can just open natively using EndNote, or you can also open in PDF viewer of your choice. So yeah, you can have like a quick glance of about the paper. You can add some remarks here as well if you want. All right, so that's how to do it. For another neat feature is that if you have added an open source article into your library, you can try to ask EndNote to find the full manuscript. So find full text here. For example, this. Find full text. So for example, okay, this is not, but for example, this one. So there's no PDF embedded here. You can try to find full text, and the EndNote will try to check whether it's an open access article or not. If yes, it will be automatically added into the EndNote as a PDF format. Yeah, but most of the time, it will not be there because most of the article is not open access. But you can try. Yeah, so you can see here, it's not open access, but it will give you the link to read the full text. So if you click this, if you have the access, then yeah, that's good. So that's another function. Yeah, this is the one that you've shown. Next is the Cite While You Write plugin. So this is where the EndNote software has a plugin within your Word, Microsoft Word itself, and then you can do your bibliography, you can do your figures table also in the formatted citation manner. So the plugin is called Cite While You Write. It's an added toolbar in your Microsoft Word, so that you should so you should be able to see it if you have installed properly. So this is example view from my Microsoft Word. You can see that EndNote 20 tab has been added automatically once you have installed it successfully. If it's not there after you install it, so you can do the troubleshooting step that I showed. I put in the notes earlier on. So you can try to troubleshoot if you have a problem with that. So this is where it will be located. All right. So how to add your in-text citation and the bibliography, the list. So as simple as you go to the end of the sentence that you want to add the in-text citation, just click there, place the cursor there, and then just go to the EndNote tab, and then press Insert Citation. Then a window like this will open. Then you can find the entry that you want. Just search it here, and then just press Insert. Then it should be automatically added into the software, into your writing. So you may turn on the instant formatting on or off. What does this mean? Is basically if you turn instant formatting on, the final version of what it should like, it will be instantly visible. So it will take a few seconds to load, and then it will appear uh, as the final uh, visible version. If you turn it off, then it will appear something like this on the screen. It's like have this squiggle bracket, and then with the entry number for the article there. So this is the formatting off. So why you want to do formatting off? It's when you have, I would say, slightly a slower PC, slower computer. So you may want to turn off so that the when you have finished your milestone in adding your references, then you can turn on and then save it so that it won't, constantly try to save, process. So it will be beneficial if you have slightly less capable devices. All right, so let's try quickly. Uh, get my Microsoft Word. Okay, so for example, you want to add your citation here. For example, can you see? Let me make it bigger. Okay, so you put the cursor here. So you can press insert citation. And then let's say you put in the title of your article that you want to cite. Let's say I just put keyword leukemia, and then let's say I want to put this article by Aaron, 1996. So just press it as such, and then press insert. So this is when the formatting is on. It will appear as the final visible version. So if I turn it off, then let's say I want to add here. This time I want to add in this Ahmed 2002. See the difference? So this is not the final version. This is the final visible version. Okay, so if you turn it on again, then this will be updated. So if you have a less capable PC, so you want to turn it off so that it won't keep processing all the time. So only after you have added a few, then you can resync it so that it will save in the final version. All right, so that's how to do it. So if ever you need to change this citation, as of now it's in the APA6 format, so you can quickly change the style. In your case, for your thesis, it's always APA6, but if it's for journal article, for example, you may have to follow the style that are required by the journal itself. So you can select as necessary. Okay. So if you see Adan and Ahmed, it should be added here. Adan is here, Ahmed is here. So you're good to go. Okay. All right. So again, this is how the step for you to change the style if ever necessary. In case still within this drop-down menu, your style of interest is not there, you can always download a new style. You can go to this endnote.com, download styles, and you can find the one that you want, and then you can just download, and then after that, your new style will be in your list of styles in your EndNote. Okay. Okay, you can try. For any of you that are trying, you can try now. If you have any problem, just have a shout. All right. Okay, this is the last bit of the lecture today. It's about Turnitin. It's going to be very short. So UM Library have created I would say a comprehensive guides on how to get your thesis to be evaluated by Turnitin. So you can just straight away go to this link and then have a read there. Um, I think most of you knows about the Turnitin, but in case you have no idea about Turnitin, it's basically a software where it will check for possible plagiarism. So it will check your writings, compare it to the a repository, and then it will give some rating in terms of percentages of how much of your writing are similar to what are currently in the repository, in the Turnitin repository. Okay, so basically it just ways to evaluate whether you have plagiarized or not. So the report will typically have this color coded uh, percentages. So blue, perfect, basically no matching text at all, green up to 24%, and so on. So for Faculty of Medicine, last I checked, they accept less than 25% without reference list. But for those of you in a specific in a program where you are under a specific department, you should check from your department. From what I heard, SPM have stricter rules. I think about 15%. So you may want to check with your respective department. So, but typically for most of you guys, less than 25% for FOM. Okay. So this is another example. It's just a screenshot of what you are expected to see once you get your report back. So the match overview is the overall score, how many percent similarity of your writing to the repository. So here it says 13%, which is okay, acceptable. Then will have a report on the breakdown of where does the similarity comes from. So in this case, this is my thesis. It matches the expert because it has been uploaded there, I guess. So for example, 3, 4, and 5 is all my own publication. So some, of course, is my writing. So because this is I resubmitted, just I want to check again now what are the numbers looks like. So when I first submitted, of course, the 3, 4, and 5 is not there because the publication is not there yet. So you can say that last time it was around 8%, something like that, 8%. So now because the publication has been out, so it's like more towards my own publication. So it's 13%, still very acceptable as long as you do your paraphrasing carefully, it will be fine. Okay, so I think that's all. If you have any question, feel free to shoot me an email. You can always refer to the EndNote and Turnitin guide from our helpful library website as well. But if you have any issue, you can just always reach me. Any questions? All right. So I think that's all for this session. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.